Good morning, America. I'm Charles Gibson.
And I'm Diane Sawyer, and it's Tuesday, December 3rd, 2002.
And we have sort of a Washington mystery story on our agenda this morning. It involves a clause in the new Homeland Security bill. Nobody knows who wrote it. Nobody's admitting that they wrote it. Nobody knows quite how it got into the bill. It protects just one company. And now it's been voted into law, and everyone's trying to find out, where did this come from? Diane?
All right, now we're going to turn to the first of a series that we call Under the Radar. It's about the kind of thing the government does that you never notice until it actually hits your family. This morning, a clause that went under the radar in the Homeland Security bill, and it raises the question, did the White House or someone else do a favor for a big pharmaceutical company? Well, suffice it to say, as of today, this morning, no one even knows who wrote that clause, and in fact, no one has any idea how it got there. But later you're going to meet one mother who says it has to be overturned. We begin, though, with ABC's Jackie Judd.
Washington is in the throes of the game, Guess Who? Who secretly inserted language into the Homeland Security bill protecting Eli Lilly from costly lawsuits. Lawsuits brought by parents claiming a vaccine preservative developed by Lilly caused autism in their children. Republican Congressman Dan Burton says he knows.
I talked to the Majority Leader, Dick Armey, about that, and he said that the White House asked him to put that provision in.
But Dick Armey now says it was not the White House and that it wasn't him either. Tom DeLay says he doesn't know who did it. Bill Frist, who proposed the idea earlier in the Senate, says he had nothing to do with the 11th hour maneuver. Eli Lilly and Budget Director Mitch Daniels, who once worked for Lilly, all say the same. So who?
The chances are that some of those people who are feigning ignorance are feigning it. They aren't really ignorant of what went on.
Congressman Burton, as well as Senate leaders, say they will try to repeal the provision when Congress returns next year. But there is considerable doubt on Capitol Hill that the work of the stealth lawmaker really will be overturned. Jackie Judd, ABC News, Washington.
But as we said, there's someone who is outraged and says it must be overturned, this clause that has no parents this morning. She is part of the ongoing, and as we know, unresolved debate about the causes of autism. She is Lynn Redwood and says she at least wants the option to argue her son's case in court, and she joins us this morning. Ms. Redmond, when you heard about this clause in the Homeland Security bill, what was your reaction?
I guess my first initial reaction, Diane, was that of shock. As you mentioned previously, there had been some legislation earlier in the summer introduced by Bill Frist that was very similar to what was added into the Homeland Security bill, and that legislation died in committee. It only had 5 sponsors. So to have this suddenly appear in the Homeland Security bill when it was not a Homeland Security issue was very disturbing to us.
And suspect, I think a lot of people feel.
Exactly.
I want to try to establish a little bit, if I can, what your case would be if you went to court. You're talking not about the vaccine itself, but a preservative added to it called thimerosal, a mercury compound. And I want to let parents out there everywhere know that most childhood vaccines no longer have thimerosal in them. But your son is now 8 years old and he's autistic. And I know you said that the vaccines he got as a child, 3 vaccines in one day, gave him how much the allowable safe dose of mercury?
He received 125 times his allowable exposure in that one day from 3 infant vaccines that contained thimerosal. I was just awestruck when I looked at the literature which describes mercury toxicity and found those symptoms identical to my son. He was completely normal the first year of life, walking, talking, meeting all of his developmental landmarks, when suddenly he began to regress. He had multiple infections, he lost his ability to speak and communicate with us, and he was ultimately diagnosed with pervasive developmental disorder, not otherwise specified, which falls under an umbrella of autism spectrum disorders.
And it surprised me that you were able to show something else. You had saved a lock of his hair as a baby, and when you submitted that to a test, what did you find?
Right. EPA's action level for mercury in the hair is 1 part per million. 5 parts per million is diagnostic of mercury toxicity, and my son's levels in his baby hair from 20 months of age had 4.8 parts per million mercury, which is almost 5 times his allowable exposure.
Well, again, as we said, it's an ongoing debate. I want to point out the National Academy of Sciences has issued a report saying there's no scientific evidence linking thimerosal and the brain disorder known as autism, but they did, however, move to get it out of childhood vaccines. I just want to say, are you confident this will be overturned? Do you have any hope?
It just seems so wrong. I can't imagine that it would be. It's not a Homeland Security issue. Smallpox vaccine does not contain thimerosal. It never has. It never will. It would actually inactivate the vaccine. I feel fairly confident that this will be overturned.
All right. Well, Ms. Redwood, again, we're grateful to you for joining us this morning.
Thank you.